Hello, my Michiganders and future Michiganders. If you're moving to Michigan, this is definitely the video for you. And if you're already here, it's a great watch on the Mitten State, the Great Lakes State, the Wolverine State, whatever kind of state you want to call it. Those are a lot of the common nicknames. In this video, I'm going to cover some of the pros and the cons of moving to Michigan. And full disclosure, I love it here. Before we get into it, if you're new here, my name is Mike Perna. I'm a local real estate agent in Metro Detroit, and I make all kinds of videos just like this for people just like you. And if I've convinced you to move to Michigan by the end of this video, I'd love to help you find your next home. Hit the like button and subscribe button for more videos on all the new and fun things happening throughout the Metro Detroit and Ann Arbor area, and let's get into it. Starting out with a couple of fun facts. Michigan consists of two separate peninsulas, and it sits in the upper Midwest region of the United States. And it is also surrounded by a ton of water, known as the Great Lakes. And it's got the longest freshwater coastline in the country, spanning over 3,200 miles. Our population is just over 10 million, which is 10th largest by population and 97,000 square miles big, 11th largest by land area. Our capital is Lansing, which is home to a Big Ten school, one of the two that we have, and also is home to a thriving economy. Metro Detroit has 3.8 million residents, and our population is actually growing pretty substantially and pretty rapidly. Getting into a little bit of Metro Detroit's history, our economy took off in the late 1800s because of the Industrial Revolution. The Great Lakes and waterways leading out to the ocean made Detroit ideal for shipping manufactured goods to the rest of the world, and soon after became what is called, or what is nicknamed, the Motor City in the early 1900s, with the Big Three all calling Detroit home. And on that note, I want to dive into the pros and the cons of moving to Michigan. Pro number one, we have all four seasons, which is con number one. We have all four seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall, and each one has its distinct pros while living in Michigan. During the winter, Michigan is number one of all the states for snowmobiling, with over 6,500 miles of trails in the upper and the lower peninsulas. Now, we're not Colorado and we're not Vermont when it comes to skiing, but we do have over 40 ski resorts and the highest vertical drop in the Midwest. If you're in the Metro Detroit area, you're only a 4-hour drive from Boyne Mountain, Crystal Mountain, or the Highlands. For a harder challenge, Ski Brule or Mount Bohemia in the upper peninsulas have more black diamonds and are open upwards of 6 months of the year. Closer to Metro Detroit, there's Mount Holly, Pine Knob, and Mount Bright. Spring in Michigan is like no other, and you can feel it come alive as we green up and come out of hibernation. And if you're a hiker, you can find more than 13,400 miles of hiking trails here in Michigan. And we actually covered the top trails to hike in Metro Detroit in one video, and another one on the top hiking trails in the entire state on this channel. Take a look for those. They're actually pretty good videos. Summer in Michigan brings festivals, outdoor music, and venues like Pine Knob and Meadowbrook Amphitheater come to life with some great acts. Also, a ton of the smaller cities like Brighton or downtown Rochester have music in the park at smaller venues, and there are fairs and festivals like the Cherry Festival in Traverse City, Arts Beats and Eats in Royal Oak, and Art Prize in Grand Rapids. Those are three of my favorites, but every weekend in Michigan there is something going on. Also, we've got over 10,000 lakes, and a ton of those in the metro area are all sports lakes, and that means water skiing and wakeboarding. Now, we autumn hard in Michigan, and Halloween lasts a full month here, with the highlights being Tilson Street in Romeo, Halloween at Greenfield Village, where they have over 1,000 hand-carved jack-o'-lanterns, and of course our cider mills. We have almost 90 cider mills in Michigan, second only to New York. With every positive, of course, comes this negative. The running joke is that Michigan has two seasons, winter and construction. We are most heavily in the north, and that compounded with the western and northern sides of the state, what is called the lake effect, most specifically Lake Michigan and Lake Erie. Grand Rapids will get up to 70 inches of snow each year, and the closer to Lake Michigan or Lake Erie are, the closer to 150 to 180 inches of snow each and every year on average. As far as snow goes, Detroit itself is a lot further down there at 44 inches per year. Now, it's cold here in the winter, and temperatures typically range from, let's say, 18 to 31 degrees in January. If you're a sun worshiper, while we're better than Seattle, we are definitely not Arizona either. All right, let's get on with another con. Now, Michigan is no stranger to road construction, and I mean like all year round. And there's a reason. Michigan breeds some of the largest and most potholes in the nation, or at least it feels that way to us Michiganders. According to Autoblog Daily, we have the third most potholes in the nation, second place to Indiana, and first place to Washington State. Between the changing seasons and our extremely fluctuating temperatures in the winter, the mix of rainfall and snow and ice seeping into the cracks of the pavement, our roads get destroyed pretty consistently. And I started looking at some of the other states and found two additional contributing factors. First, we have a very low road budget versus some of the other states. For example, Florida and Michigan have within 10% of the same miles of highway. However, our road budget is literally half of what Florida's is. Second, states like Ohio, who's pretty much much only redeeming factor is great roads, have a ton of toll roads which help them fund better roads. Next, I'm going to throw another pro up there, and that is our underrated food scene. There is so much good food throughout the state of Michigan, and that food a lot of times is coming with a history. While growing, Detroit and Metro Detroit attracted a ton of immigrants from all over the world, like my Italian grandparents, and they brought their food with them. We had people move here from New York, add their own twist to the New York style pizza, making a Detroit style pizza, which is way better than New York style pizza, by the way. And that's just one example of restaurants bringing in food from every continent and sometimes even combining them. El Barzone in Detroit combines both traditional Italian and traditional Mexican. In Novi, Shiro is Japanese cuisine with a French flair and dozens of others. We also have some food that's uniquely Michigan, from the decades-old divisive debate between the directly neighboring Lafayette Coney Island and American Coney Islands. Coney Islands are definitely a thing here. In addition to that, we're home to Faygo, Verner's, Better Made chips, and of course Mackinac Island fudge, all things uniquely Michigan. Another pro, we have a way lower average cost of living. Per World Population Review, which has just about every number you can want as far as statistics go, Michigan is the 15th least expensive state to live in the United States, and stacked up from an income perspective, we're just a hair below the national average on household income. Our dollars go a lot further here than in 35 other states. For example, the average house in the United States in late 2022 per Zillow cost $357,000 versus $236,000 for that same home here in Michigan. But let's go a little more apples to apples on this one. If you need to live within 45 minutes of a metro area, like a Washington, D.C., a Dallas, or a Detroit, the average home price in the major metros in the U.S. is $503,000 versus within 45 minutes of downtown Detroit at $298,000, and that is a $200,000 difference in home price. Here's what $500,000 gets you in L.A., and here's what $500,000 gets you here in Novi. Here's D.C., here's Rochester, Michigan, here's New York, and here's downtown Detroit. Here's Boston, and here's Grosse Pointe. Yeah, you totally get a mansion here for the same dollars as it would cost to get, a shoebox in LA. 100%. All right, I'm gonna throw another pro on the board, and that's gonna be our sports, which we are super serious about here in Michigan. Now, I've heard a rumor that Yankee fans are a thing, and I'm sure they are. I've heard that, I guess. But Detroit fans are truly hardcore. Ask any Lions fan. Detroit, Michigan ranks number 3 as professional sports cities, and in fact, we're only one of 12 major cities with all 4 major teams in one city. Detroit has the Tigers, the Pistons, the Red Wings, and that team that keeps on ranking super well among top high schools, the Lions. I'm totally kidding, but as a die-hard Lions fan, I'd really like to see them win more than like 2 games a decade. But it doesn't stop there. You need to know this about moving to Michigan, so listen up. In Michigan, people are only one of 2 fans. You're either Go Blue or you're Go Great. You're either U of M or you're Michigan State. And there are a few days of the year where the whole state will show who they root for, and none more than when U of M plays Michigan State in the fall, one of our biggest games of the year. And here's a pro tip. If you've got 2 friends, one pro-Michigan and one's pro-state, and they're in a debate, and it looks like it is totally going to get out of hand, the fastest way to de-escalate that is lob this into the conversation. Repeat after me. The Ohio State University has quite the team this year, and I think they're going to beat both teams. Debate ended. Now, the downside of that is you just lost 2 friends. All right, guys, and that wraps up my own personal takes on the pros and the cons of moving to Detroit and moving to Michigan. What'd you think? Are you a fan? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe. And like I said, I'm Mike Perna, local real estate agent here in Metro Detroit, and I'd be honored to receive the call to help you and your family find your next home or get your current home sold. See you on the next video.